Good afternoon, everyone. This is Relative Edge. My name is Jabari. Today is Thursday, May 7th, and I want to do a midweek update on silver and why it's about to squeeze and break out. And I want to show you the reason why. So let's get straight into it. The main thing I'm going to start with is the Dow gold ratio, because silver at the end of the day follows gold, doesn't go up without gold going up first. So I want to kind of walk through my thought process here. Gold, this is the Dow gold ratio. So as the Dow gold ratio goes up, the Dow Jones Industrial Average outperforms gold and vice versa. So as you can see, the Dow gold ratio is in a downtrend. This is a weekly chart, by the way. So each one of these bars is 1 week. We're in a downtrend. We actually broke out of this downtrend recently, and we are going sideways here. So that's something important to know. When we're going sideways, that means the Dow Jones Industrial Average and gold are performing equally when it's going, and we want to see this going down because, like I said, silver followed gold. So we want to see the Dow underperforming gold. And right now we broke out of this um, downward trend line, and we are currently going sideways. Today we had a down day. Let's move into the daily chart here. So, yep. So you can see last week or earlier this week, we actually were trending up above this, which was previous resistance. So look, it was support here. We broke down, came back up, tested this line. Now this is resistance, came back down, tested it again, resistance, came back up, and now when we break the resistance, it turns into support. So right now this is acting as support. Question is this going to break down or not? Looking at the strength here, the relative strength or momentum, I'm not seeing any changes to the current trend. So if I were to just draw like a trend line at the bottom here, say it's an uptrend. You want to see if that breaks, which you can argue started to break here. So it looks like this uptrend, this support may not hold here. Question is, does that hold this week or going forward, or does this break down? So that's important because we want gold to outperform the Dow Jones Industrial Average, so that silver can follow. So next is the gold silver ratio. This is a daily chart. So we were trading in a bear flag. So a bear flag is a strong down move followed by sideways consolidation. So here's our down move, and then we have this sideways consolidation. In the sideways consolidation, we were briefly trading in this upward parallel channel. And keep in mind, we were in this downward parallel channel for a while here. And we got right back into that downward parallel channel. So when we broke out of this upward parallel channel, we were trading sideways. So gold and silver essentially since March 12th, if you held gold or silver, you would be up the same amount or down the same amount. They performed equally up since that date. What we want to see is a breakdown of this ratio. So what we can do here is look at the strength here, the relative strength, and we see at this, we're seeing resistance up here at 65. So now we got a top here on the strength Thursday, the 5th of February, and a lower high here, March 20th on a Friday. And we got another lower high on April 29th, which was last Wednesday. So we're getting lower highs, which when you see lower highs, that's signifies a downtrend. So the strength in gold versus silver, gold over silver is decreasing because we're getting lower highs here. So something important to keep in mind here, that means silver is starting to gain strength over gold. So, and one key resistance here was this 62.3 level, right? So we were holding it, and broke below. We came back, tried to test it. It couldn't hold support. And now we broke down below and came back, tested it one more time. It verified it was resistance, and we came down and closed. So a confirmation of this move would be a daily close below this wick right here, this wick on Friday 17th of April. Um, and once we get a daily close of that, then we can expect further downside. And one thing I do want to note though is that we are seeing a break below the 50 on the RSI. So whenever you get a break below the 50 on the RSI, that signifies that a new trend is forming. So we were previously in uptrend, and now we broke below 50, and now we're in a downtrend here. So silver is now outperforming gold. Next, I want to check silver versus silver miners because just like silver follows gold, silver miners follow silver. So let's check out this chart here. This is another daily chart. And so we were trading in this upward parallel. Briefly, we broke out of the upward parallel, came back down below the parallel, and we could not get back in that parallel. Look how many times we bounced here. We even tried a couple days closing here. We could not get back in that parallel. So silver miners are gaining strength over silver, slightly outperforming it. Not by much. I mean, it's still relatively going sideways. We're not in a downtrend. So we want to make sure that silver versus silver miners, the ratio, and this is SILJ, by the way, junior silver miners. We want to make sure the ratio doesn't break above 2.5. That would mean that silver is now outperforming silver miners, and that's not what we want. We want silver miners to outperform silver. So we want to see this ratio continue to go down. If we do look at the strength here, then we see we have a higher high, lower high, lower high, and now we got another lower high. We did break out of this parallel channel, downward parallel channel, but we broke back down into it. So that tells me that we are losing strength. Silver's losing strength versus silver miners, which is a good thing if you're holding silver miners. So something just to keep in mind if I want to kind of draw a trend line here, maybe at the bottom here and see maybe something like that. Want to see this come back and test that trend line on the strength index, but definitely want to keep an eye on that. Let's see how silver is performing against the S&P 500. Is silver outperforming S&P or underperforming? So another bear flag, right? Down move followed by sideways consolidations, resistance at 9.5. We smacked here, got met with sellers down, hit this upward trend line. Then we went back up to 9.5, found sellers again, sellers, downward pressure, back up to the trend line. And now look at this. This trend line that was previous support is now resistance, right? Resistance, right? We are no longer being finding buyers above. We are now finding actually sellers at this trend line. So this upward trend line was previously support and now it's resistance. And we still could not get above. We did actually get above the 9.5 level, but we were below this support, this upper trend line. So we got over for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and look at that. Today we broke down. So, and if you want to look at the strength index, the momentum here, we were finding ourselves in an upward parallel channel. So, and now we actually have broken out of that today. So not only did we break down below one support, which is now resistance, and another support, which is now resistance. If you look on the strength, you've broken below this, um, the bottom support of this parallel channel. So the next thing right now is to see if we test the 50 line, because as I mentioned before, test a change, a drop below the 50 is significant because it means that there is a change in direction. So I'm going to draw a line at the 50 so you can see that visually. Um, and that means if we break below here, it's going to be better for you to actually hold silver versus silver miners, silver versus the S&P 500. Next, you want to check out oil because oil has been a top performer. So it's always nice when you're thinking about buying an asset, you want to be in the top performing asset. So if oil was the previous top performing asset and you're thinking about buying something else, it's typically a good idea to compare that asset to the outperforming asset. So let's do that here with the oil, silver versus crude oil futures. And look at this. So this is a falling wedge. If you look up a falling wedge, you know, I'll do it for you. Falling wedge um, pattern. wedge. Yep. So falling wedge pattern is actually a bullish pattern. So it looks something like this, which is where you would see here. So I'm expecting a move up higher. We broke out of this falling wedge, so we're not falling anymore. And now we are going sideways. And not only did we go up, but we came back and tested exactly where we broke out at. And we broke out at 0.66, went up, came back down, and we found support here. We found buyers. So people are selling oil for silver, basically. Um, and not only that, look, this is an equal low right here, but you look at the strength, and we have more strength here, right? So that means there's more momentum in this move. So that leads me to think that we'll see a higher high, meaning we would surpass this high. So far this week, we are looking bullish on silver versus oil. Silver did sell off towards the close, and oil did rally towards the open, which is why we see this tail looking thing here. But look at this, we are actually above the 50 on the RSI of 50.93, right? Smack dab on. So a couple things to consider. Just silver is breaking out on multiple against multiple different assets, so that's something to keep in mind. Last thing I'll go over is the MMRI, which I kind of love analyzing here. And the reason why is because the MMRI takes the 10-year yield and the dollar and multiplies them together in a ratio. And we know that the 10-year yield, the markets are typically very sensitive to the 10-year yield and the US dollar strength versus our other currencies. So by multiplying them together, you can get an idea of, hey, if 10-year yield is rising, dollar is rising, then there's going to be more pressure on the markets. Um, so what I have here is a little pattern that I've seen that every time we get to the top of this bearish channel, this downward parallel channel, we find resistance. We find sellers. So sellers here, see that up here, sellers here, and sellers here. Keep in mind, gold and silver, they need the dollar to go down. Not necessarily need it to go down, but um, they are more bullish typically when the US dollar is going down because other countries are looking for an alternative to the dollar typically. Um, and typically when this does sell off, it trades in a downward parallel channel, a bearish channel. The thing is here, which is kind of tricky here, which is actually very confusing, is that we were trading in this downward parallel channel, but we broke out, which is, look at this, another bear flag, right? So downward move, upwards to sideways consolidation now, but we have broken out in the bullish channel within this bear flag pattern. So now we're going sideways again. So to see this start moving down again, we want to see a break below 263 on the MMRI. So, and sometimes I like throwing in the Hankanashi chart. It just kind of changes the visual here. And looks like the last 2 days were red days for the Hankanashi chart. So just keep that in mind. This basically indicates that this ratio is going to come down. The interest rates and the dollar are losing momentum and that they will come down. So all bullish reasons for gold and silver. And keep in mind, I did not look at the price chart of silver this whole video. I'm just looking at it relative to other assets to get an idea of the direction it will go in. So, I mean, all these assets can go down tomorrow, but I believe that silver will outperform them. So, just something to keep in mind. I do want to focus more on silver because I think it will be an outperforming asset in the coming years, if not months, if not days. So keep that in mind. But either way, I appreciate your time. This is the Relative Edge. Hopefully, you guys learned something new. And if you did, please like, subscribe, share the video, comment if you have any questions. If there's something that you disagree with, I'd love to talk about it because I'm not always right, and neither are you. So, but it's good to hear other people's perspective. But anyway, that was Relative Edge. You guys have a great Thursday afternoon, and talk to you later.